Today we will learn how to use Google Drive to back up our files in our Laravel application. So first thing, we will connect our Laravel application with our Google Drive account, and then we will sync our files to Google Drive. So let's learn how to do that. So I will refer to this gist. I will link this up on description, and here all steps are listed. You can refer to it. So first thing first, we need to go to the console.developers, and in our console we need to create new project. So if you have any existing project, in my case there are two projects. If you do not see any project, then create new project and then you'll see one of them, and make sure you are on the project. Here is the project name, and first thing, we need to create our credentials that we can use in our Laravel application. So just head over to credentials. So here all the steps are listed. We need to enable our library, go to credentials and generate OAuth client ID. Alright, so in your console, go to credentials and create credentials, and make sure you create this OAuth client ID. So application type, we are making web application. You can give some name that you can identify YouTube Laravel Drive, and then we need to add this authorized redirect URI from here, and here we need to put in like this endpoint, developers.google.com/OAuth playground. So I will copy and paste that out here. Make sure this is the URL. So we'll use this in a moment. This is the URL which this Google will redirect with code that we can use to generate refresh token. So for now, you just create it. Alright, so these are our client ID and client secret. So, and here we can see YouTube Laravel Drive, and here we can download our credentials by using that, so it will be easier. Alright, so our project credentials are created, and next we need to go to this library and enable Google Drive. So just search for Google Drive. Here you go. So Google Drive API, click on it and enable it. So in my case it is already enabled, so you'll see manage after you enable, otherwise you will see enable option here. So once you enable that, and next step is to create a refresh token, and to create that we need to head over to this URL, OAuth playground, and here on this top right corner we have configuration option, and here we will do like use our own auth credentials, and we'll put in client ID and client secret that we just downloaded over here. So this is the downloaded one. We need to open this up. Let me open this up on Sublime. So from here I will copy client ID into client ID field and client secret over here. Okay, so once you put this up, next on this left corner over here we need to search for Google Drive, or we can Control F and just to Drive. Here you go. So Drive API 3, and now we can give the scope that we want. So it can manage drives. For now I'll give everything and hit authorize API. So you might get this option advanced and go to this. So we need to allow everything. Alright, so next we need to click on this exchange authorization code for tokens, and here we get our refresh token. So you can copy this refresh token from here. Here we go. This is the refresh token, and let's save it somewhere. We'll need it. This is the refresh token. Alright, so next step is to install. So install this composer package, copy it and go to a Laravel project. So I've already installed Laravel 8 new project, and here you can run this. I've already run it, installed it. It works fine with Laravel 8. And next step is to copy this much amount of code and put this on config file system. Let's go to config file system, and here we can see the disks, different kind of disk like S3, public, and we'll add this Google option. And now next step is to provide these credentials from .env file, and just copy this into our .env file. And now let's put everything over here, our client ID. So we need to copy everything from here. Here we got client ID, client secret, and refresh token. So I'll paste them up over here. Alright, so with all credentials in place, so here is option for folder ID as well. So if you want to store these files that you're gonna backup in particular folder, then you need to supply the folder ID. The way you do it is like this. For example, if you go to drive and suppose you want to create new folder, your application name Laravel 8 files, and you created this folder and you want to store everything in here, then you need this folder ID. In URL you can see this folder ID, and you can paste this into here. So if you supply null, it will save it on root level. Otherwise it will, if you supply folder ID, then all files will go over here. Alright, so all credentials in place. Next step to set this up is to create a service provider. So this service provider, Google Drive service provider, just copy everything and create new provider. Or the cool way is to just open this raw, click on raw button and just copy everything, and then you need to create new provider. So you can create new provider from artisan command also, or you can just simply create new file on inside your provider. Sorry about that. Here app providers, and just create new file over here, Google service provider.php. Alright, so we created this empty PHP file, and then we will paste everything here. There we go. So we are simply just putting these credentials, registering this adapter, and now after creating this provider file, Laravel doesn't know about this file. We need to make Laravel know about this. So to do that, just go to config app, and here we need to put we need to specify that we are using this service provider that we just created. So inside this providers array we will put that. There we go. Okay, now let's test it out by creating this test route and by putting this content. So we are using storage disk, our newly created Google disk, and then we are creating new text document with content hello world. And now let's go and test it out. Let's refresh. Okay, so it is saying done. Let's go to our drive and let's see. Here we go. So we can see newly created document hello world. So I've been experimenting, that's why you can see 2 items. So suppose we want to put our all files in new folder like blog, create it, and it will create this folder. If you double click on it, you can get this folder ID, and then you can copy this folder ID into your .env file like so, and now all files will go inside this directory. So let's try this out. Let's say blog content. Now execute this test route. There we go. So we can see this newly created document inside it, blog content. Alright, so this is how we connect Laravel, and we can use Laravel and Google Drive, and we can use our Google Drive account to back up our files. In this video we just cover integration. Next we'll actually implement how we can sync files we'll put some button like sync now, and it will sync all the documents into our Google Drive. So we'll do that next. I'll see you on another video. Bye.